We're live. How is everyone this evening?
Splendid.
Everyone take a minute to look at Tahina. Doesn't she look spooktacular?
Spectaculous. Got to tickle all your funny
understand that we
bones.
cannot hope to match.
Yeah, it's not like it's Halloween or anything. This is just a Monday night outfit.
Yeah, her Monday night outfit. We don't usually see her on a Monday night.
True.
I
Wow.
did this ridiculous new diet, and it was quite radical.
It feels like doing something special today, like George of the Jungle. Way.
Is that new diet high in calcium? Sounds like. Good.
Hello and welcome. We're back. Curse of Strahd has found its new home on Goldhart Gaming. We are Goldhart Group. We love everything D&D. It's important to note that while we love everything D&D, we're not specifically approved by, sponsored by,
Affiliated with, endorsed
affiliated
by,
with, endorsed,
so on.
and so on and so forth with Wizards of the Coast LLC. Oh, since this is the first stream for Goldhart Group, and at this time we are unable to upload our previous episodes, we're going to have a very short recap on the adventure thus far. So, our tale begins in the perpetual twilight of the kingdom of Barovia, in front of a ruined manor house, its hollowed remains jutting up from a dark foggy forest, clearing like a skeleton rising from the shallow grave. In front of the ruin, 5 strangers met, brought there by means both mundane and magical. 2 were human natives of this morbid land, Gerhardt, a grim guardsman of a nearby town of Velaki, and Voldemar, a gnarled and suspicious old hermit in the deep forest. 3 others materialized out of the mist, having become lost on their travels in the more familiar and welcoming land of Faerun, led by an elderly human wizard, Gideon, the cheery halflings, Ella, a cunning cleric of Yondella skilled in the shadowy arts, and Finny, vermin hunter of the Ratcatchers Guild. They seemed just as baffled by their sudden appearance in Barovia as their guide. Before anyone could make sense of what had happened, a tall figure emerged from the darkness. He was handsome, mature, noble-looking, pale like moonlight with jet black hair. And he said, "Ah, the masters had sent me new playthings." And from the mists that surrounded them, a hulking, monstrous creature emerged. The Mist Flayer. A horrific construct of mangled corpses, bones, and sinew. It thundered towards the new companions, knowing better than to try and fight this monstrosity. They fled into the nearby woods. Or ruins, more correctly. Unable to find them, the Mistflayer stalked off back into the forest in frustration, and our shaken heroes decided to regroup in the nearby home of Voldemar to recuperate and take stock of their odd situation. While on the road, they came across a camp belonging to the Vistani gypsies who frequented Barovia and could come and go as they pleased. There, driven mainly by Faerunian curiosity and against better judgment of the Barovians, they received a very special reading from a fortune teller named Madame Eva. These cryptic clues they received underlined a simple fact that none of them could fail to understand. The only way for our Faerunians to go home was to defeat the evil Lord Strahd for once and for all. The exhausted party finally arrived in Voldemar's home, and for a few hours they managed to put their ordeal behind them. Voldemar's family made the strangers feel welcome as they exchanged stories, song, and as much of the knowledge of different lands as they had time to tell. and the Barovians swore to aid the Faerunians trio in getting back home. On the days thereafter, most of their time was spent in Vallaki. Slowly they gathered information and made alliances with those who opposed Strahd, namely the vampire hunter Rudolf von Richten, and the elusive band of rare ravens known the Keepers of the Feather. To do so was no mean feat, as to gain reputation necessary to prove they were not agents of Strahd, they had to rescue a kidnapped raven, foil a cult of druids who had overtaken a nearby vineyard, and return a set of holy bones from Vallaki's church. They even slayed a dreaded vampire spawn hidden within the thief's home. Despite victories, it has not been smooth sailing for our heroes. Although slow to trust the newcomers in his mists, and even slower to trust a member of the authorities that would rather he would not exist, Voldemar had gradually come to accept Gerhardt. Finny, Gwydion, and Ella, however, with the... Sorry, I've written notes and I don't understand what I wrote. Yay! We'll just skip that bit. At the same time, Voldemar's son was stricken down by a mysterious curse. Our heroes pointed the finger at the Vistani gypsy, Madame Eva, as to get the reading they had to exchange something of value. And Voldemar exchanged his son's toy wolf, or dog was it, to do so. But whether or not it is, who knows? Far away from the influences of the guidance of her goddess, Ella had been approached by Strahd in the privacy of her dreams, perhaps as a result of her willingness to redeem or parley with him, and has even received a letter inviting her to Castle Ravenloft to meet the vampire lord in person. Though cheery at the darkness of times, the more ruthless side of this young halfling is starting to come to the front. Perhaps Barovia's darkness is starting to rub off on her. The time spent in Barovia's eternal dusk appears to be hardest on Finny, for each day that passes, his sunny disposition has grown more sullen and withdrawn. Is there a deeper reason for his depression? Or are Strahd's malicious plots starting to take his hold upon him? Resigning his post in Vallaki's town guard, Gerhardt has made the safeguarding of his new friends his sole priority, though it's clear that the death of his pregnant wife many years ago still haunts him. After his resignation, the first thing he did was retrieve a tattered old tome that lay buried in his garden, the significance of which has not been revealed, and it is obvious that he is hiding something, unable or unwilling to tell the others. And finally, the kindly old Gideon has been tormented by some unspoken loss a long time ago. His dreams, too, were invaded by Strahd, who seemed to know his most terrifying secrets. Secrets that may test the goodwill of his companions to the limit, should they be known. And so we continue, fresh from successfully rescuing, liberating, freeing, perhaps, the young son of Veleki's ruler, Baron Vargas, from a magical teleportation mishap in waiting. Our heroes now must decide where to go next. They must decide quickly. However, as the Festival of the Sun, the ritual that allegedly keeps Strahd at bay, is only but a day away.
Ooh.
So, over to you, my victims.
Okay, we're still in the inn at the moment, are we?
No, you are in the Baron's house. So we last left off, you had liberated the Baron's son from his hidey hole in the attic. Some of you were going to go speak to the Baron. Finny, you were peering into a room filled with dolls, and that's where we left off. Take it away.
Voldemar peers into his copy of the spell book he took from Baron's son, and he looks down upon the list of spells available, and he looks at Gerhard and says, "This boy could have been more trouble if we hadn't stopped him now."
Indeed. Magic is a serious art, a serious craft. As much a danger to those who practice it and those around them, than even to whom they would do harm.
He has been trying the least offensive spell on this book, and he exploded at least 4 servants that we know of. Imagine if he tried animating the dead.
It is a dark magic in that book, that is for certain. But perhaps we can guide him towards more constructive means of spells if he is willing. It concerns me that he sacrificed people to learn, perhaps in the right setting.
Well, it's not... Sorry.
It's okay. He just kind of trails off, in thought, actually.
Well,
Voldemort, just to interrupt you.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been in hiding because of your magical power, and you know that in Barovia, to be magical, or to have any magical power, is to bring the attention of Strahd. So most wizards, or those of magical inclinations, tend to hide this power like you have.
I look around at the colleagues present, and I say, Strahd's gaze is definitely on this town tonight and tomorrow. There has been too much magic in the air. And if someone didn't feel like exploding people or to clean up every single messy room in Barovia that we entered, this festival might have gone just fine. But we will most certainly have to leave. And promptly.
Well, I do understand your concerns, but I have to say, there were vampire spawns already here. How... You cannot blame it on poor old Gwydion, right? Cleaning up a few tables and stuff can't be the reason why Strahd is suddenly gazing at this town. Something has been horrible wrong much earlier than this, right?
And as you guys are talking... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
And I do understand the poor child, right? Look at this horrible, dreadful place. If I could leave, I would be gone immediately. So he wanted to teleport out of here, and I can understand it, even if I do question his methods. But at least he tried to do something, and it's not stretching along, looking all grey and spooky and sad all day long like the others do. I like that about him.
Terror is relative. If you had been born here and lived here, then perhaps it would not seem quite so spooky to you. No, whatever this boy has seen, it has frightened him beyond the menial beasts.
You are governed by your vampire lord. There are werewolves and druids and undead and the mist flare, and you are telling me this is not spooky? There is mist. Yes, all that. Have you seen this? Have you ever seen the sun? I don't know if you even know what that word means. I can tell you where I'm from, there are blue skies and bright sunshine and flowers that are not trying to, strangle and eat you or something. So
sounds fake.
Gideon holds his hand up and says, "We are debating proximity. All of those things can be found in our world, just not as close together. I quiver to think that all of these horrors may even be working together here, so we are right to fear, I think."
Now imagine if tomorrow Strahd sends 5 mist flares and 10 flesh golems to find the mages who have been spellcasting. It is not unheard of. It is regular. Do you wish to stay here and wait for them, or would you rather run?
I may not be a guardsman any longer, but I still feel a degree of duty towards the people here. I would at least see what endangers them before I run.
I mean,
That said, I would not expect any of you to stand alongside me.
hey, what's that supposed to mean?
And as Ella says that, one of the Baron's servants comes and he interrupts you all. And he says, I have been looking for you.
For us?
Mistress Elizabetha is standing outside.
This is bad.
Did she say what she wants?
She wants you, of course.
I believe I speak for us all when I say we are rather sick of being summoned like peasants and servants.
You are a peasant and a servant.
I kick you in the chin. You told me we should be nice and polite. Be nice and polite.
I have just witnessed what has been plaguing our curiosities for many moons. Once again, strange occurrences and disappearances explained, and yet the guard did nothing. Those who swore to protect the people of this town stood by and did nothing.
Voldemort just stares into the camera like he's on The Office, because that's what he's been complaining about the Gerhardt for a while now. So he just you can see him just like go and stare into a wall.
Oh, pardon. Gideon pats him on the back a couple times, oblivious to the to the
Let's
gesture.
find out what the woman wants, okay? I'm deadly serious.
After
Gerhard
you.
just shrugs, and he'll lead the way.
I start skipping on ahead,
Excellent.
which
So
I
you,
can
go,
totally do.
so you go back through the Baron's house, as
Yeah.
magnificent as it is.
While they've been upstairs dealing with that, Finny, I think, will have plucked up the courage to go and enter into this room full of all these strange dolls and just start having a nosy around.
Okay, so in
Roll
this
for initiative.
no, so the room is empty. It's fairly tidy. You know, the bed is neatly made. Very few belongings in it, but everywhere, on every surface, on every shelf, and there have been many shelves added, is just tons of copies of this doll. The doll that you possess, Finny.
He slowly potters through the room, stopping and staring at one or two. If I recall correctly, they're all of varying levels of craftsmanship.
Yeah, so some are finely made and highly detailed. Others kind of are like what you would kind of remember of a face of a dream. But they all have something in common. They all bear the resemblance of someone with auburn hair, sunset skin, and similar features.
Finny will pause at one or two, some of the more finely crafted ones, and although he's not going to reach out and touch any, you'll see him sort of peeking around it and trying to see just what's wrong with the craftsmanship to warrant yet another being made, as the Toymaker explained to him.
So as you compare two, you see that one's eyes are slightly larger than the others, and on the second one, its hair is a different shade. It's almost like someone is trying to perfect an image in their minds, but they can't quite grasp the details.
And after a little while of looking through these, he'll take a glance to see if there's a particular spot of importance, perhaps, where he thinks the one he's got might be destined to sit.
So as you pervade the room, obviously the ones on the higher shelves are the ones that are the oldest, and you can tell this by dust and cobwebs and things like that. And the ones near the dresser seem the newest, and actually the one that you possess seems to have something in common with all the dolls, but it's actually quite unique in its craftsmanship.
Are you carrying on, or am I...
No, that's it.
Alright, I thought you were looking something up.
No.
In that case, can I do an investigation to see what stands out as a similarity between them?
Okay, sure.
Let me check my stats, because it's been so long. Straight 14.
Okay. So, there's a collection of about 10 dolls on this dresser. And your doll has the eyes of one, the hair of another, the outfit of the third, the limb length of the fourth, the right skin shade of the fifth, the correct nose of the sixth, the right lip fullness of the seventh, the right chin shape of the eighth, the right eye colour of the ninth, and finally the right height of the 10th.
Finny will give these all a good look over. Purse his lips for a little bit, and again, just very conscious of that weight in the pack he's got. Before he turns and walks out of the room and heads back towards the Baron's study.
Okay.
Or the Burgermeister, I do beg your pardon. And he'll just knock on the door, expecting entry.
Come in.
And he creaks it open, struggling a bit with the timbers. And he'll nod to the figure behind, presume he's behind the desk at this point.
Yeah, he hasn't moved. The two mastiffs are laying on the rug. They seem quite lazy.
I hope you don't mind the interruption, but I just kind of saw something out there. I just wanted to rack your brains on, if you don't mind.
Of course, how can I help you?
Well, the lads have all gone upstairs to kind of deal with your problem, and I believe it's well in hand. But I couldn't help but notice on the way up that there's a room you've got across the way, filled with some quite remarkable pieces of craftsmanship. Little dolls. Little girls, I believe. I couldn't help but notice and found myself curious as to what the story was. Seems like it's a bit of a strange collection, if you don't mind me saying.
Ah, yes, that's Isaac's room.
A friend of yours?
Isn't that his name?
Remind me who I think he's the henchman, right?
Yes, he's the henchman, unless I got his name wrong.
Was it like Isaac the dog or
Isaac Stasny, right?
Yes. Okay, I didn't get it wrong.
So they're not yours then, they're belonging to this Isaac fella?
Yes, it's been an obsession of his for the past few months. I just tend to leave him be. He's free to spend his money how he wants.
Oh yes, can't argue with that, but I can only assume it's of a particular person. You don't know who that is by any chance?
No, no one I know, and no one in the village of Veleki. I would remember a face as beautiful as that.
Aye, she got a fine figure to be sure, even in adult form. But I suppose I'd best be asking the fellow himself, then. It just seems a mite odd, you know. But I'm a curious creature by nature. You have to forgive me ramblings.
I would have to advise you against that. Isaac is a bit touchy on the subject.
All right. Why's that?
He's always been that way since he was a boy. We found him, you see, when he was a young man. Just wandering in the woods. And I decided to take him home. He was harmless, you see.
That's very good of you.
Something in me told me to take the boy home. And now he has that monstrosity growing.
Aye. Where did he pick that up exactly?
He just came home with it one day. But he's a good man, follows orders, does my bidding.
That's what you want. And it's great to see that you've been quite charitable enough to take him in the first place, and that he's lived up to your expectations. Speaks highly of you, to have a fella trained that well.
Well, of course, everyone would speak well of me.
No reason why not. But another thing strikes me mind on the subject of training a fella. I can't help but notice your collection. It certainly points towards the books that are lining the wall. I mean, as you can tell, I'm not exactly native to this land. And where I was from, we kind of had an old saying about forewarned being forearmed and all that. And I'm sure you know that there's quite a few nasties lurking out in the woods out beyond the village and the likes. Can I help but question if you've got any particular volumes up there that might be of use to someone wanting to learn the nature of the surrounding area? Find out what sort of creatures be lurking, how to avoid them.
I do. And he stands up, and he goes to his shelf, and he thinks, and he pulls a couple of books off.
If you've got anything about vampires as well, that would be splendid. They're only really myth in my place. It's quite interesting to see real ones. Or hear about them, at any rate.
So he mulls it over, he reaches for a book, peels it away, puts it back, and he comes back with one book. A large, heavy tome, especially for one such as yourself. And it's called The Bestiary of Barovia. And it's written by someone called Volo.
Oh boy. Anthony takes it and struggles a bit with the weight initially, pops it down on the desk, and just sort of leaves through the first few pages. Can I roll investigation to see how useful this is actually going to be?
You may.
Or do you need me to roll, or what?
Yeah.
Cool. 12.
Okay, Thinny, you're not from here. And, you leaf through it and you see things like magical cauldrons that eat you, ovens that consume children, wraiths, and about 20 different kinds of wraith. And the way that the book is written, and you are no stranger to the works of Volo with that role, it's half fanciful, but it feels like it's filled with fairy tales.
Okay, he'll look through the first few pages and look back to the Baron afterwards. This might come in handy. I don't suppose you'll be willing to part with it for a time.
Of course, but as long as you bring it back, books are valuable, you know.
All right, I mean, I'm quite happy to reimburse you the cost of it if it's easier for you.
Do you have 600 gold pieces?
600? That's quite a bit for a book. Where is that over here?
Books are knowledge, and knowledge is valuable.
Aye, fair point. Honestly, I can't say as I do, at least not right now. But I'd be quite willing to bring it back, certainly.
Of course, you can have it until the end of the festival.
Much obliged to you. And he'll fight with it to get it in his backpack, which is already bulging a little bit. She'll shrug it back on. Head back out. Very good of you, sir. Much obliged, and long may you live well.
Excellent. If you go, the gesture's for you to leave.
At this point, I'd imagine we'd bump into the others coming back down. So, how'd you get on with it?
Well, the good news is the sun is out of his room, right? The bad news is the sun has been playing with forbidden magic. So, yeah, there's that.
Oh boy. He's not liable to be practicing that magic on us anytime soon, is he?
I look up at Voldemort. I mean, there was a skeleton cat and exploding little mannequins, and some of the servants have been, I think, killed in the pursuit of this magic. So, how dark is dark? What would you say?
Right, okay.
There was no vampire up there. I mean, that's a bonus.
Sure, yeah,
Not
sure.
guiding
That makes up for the skeleton cats and the dead folk.
Yeah, it was not good. Let's leave it at that.
Gerhardt's hand will drift to his pouch, and we hear the slight rustle of papers, namely the pages that he ripped out of the book, and he just says, "The danger is over for now, but at least we have taken the most dangerous knowledge away from him."
Well, I mean, the most dangerous knowledge includes the spell to clean up your room, which Gwydion has been using a lot. But yes, we have isolated certain literature from the young men.
Meanwhile, we have been required yet again.
Who is it this time?
What was her name? I forgot.
Elizabetha?
Elizabeth.
Yeah. It seems Lady Elizabetha requires an audience.
What does she know? Finny begins straightening up his jacket a little bit and
Standing in and goes to help you with prestidigitation, but stops himself from casting. He just passes it off like he's brushing his cheek. And...
Geralt just smiles slightly and shakes his head. She will be helpless against your charms, my friend.
and they are.
He's disappeared.
Oh no.
And back.
Yeah, I was muting and it froze. Gideon followed up with hard habit break, but I caught it this time.
Well, it's no good having good charms if we'll be late. No good to keep a lady waiting.
And I don't understand this. You have been cleaning for days now, and we are invited, so it's not as if he doesn't know that we are here and what we can do, right? I mean, he saw us arrive, and, clean, if that makes you happy.
I put a hand on top of Ella's head, pat it gently, and say, "You are still so young, and I presume your relatives are still alive." And without adding anything, I move on to pat Finny on the shoulder because I'm proud that he is straightening up for the lady, and I tell him that at least someone's gonna be happy to see a pretty woman.
Look, this goes around. I'm guessing you're best off taking what you can get when you can find it.
Geralt's going to lead the way out.
Excellent, okay. So you travel through the Baron's house, and once again, it's just littered with twigs everywhere. It's just twigs. Bundles and bundles of twigs. On the stairs, on chairs, under chairs, on dressers, beside dressers, in dressers. And as you reach out, you see Elizabetha waiting for you. She's wearing her raven cape, and she has a worried look upon her face.
You wish to speak to us, my lady?
Ah, good. Is all well with the Baron?
As well as can be.
And have you finished your business here?
I mean, for now, he seemed quite happy that we got his son out of study, right?
We have received message from the winery.
Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good. What happened?
Have the druids returned?
They have not yet, but every day the attacks grow more frequent. We think they are planning to move again.
But we have their fancy stick!
It seems that they did not need the fancy stick, and what they seek, we still have.
One fancy stick does not a forest make. I think we've got a ways to go to resolving this problem.
Correct me if I am wrong, but is there not a coven of these druids nearby? less than a day away.
That is correct. And that is where we think they are coming from.
Gerhard looks to the others.
There also must be a reason why they need the winery and not any other location around here. Maybe we missed something. Maybe what they want is still there.
So, just to remind you guys, because it has been a while, being quite generous today, when you spoke to the old crow, Owen's father, he told you that they have magical gems that they planted around the vineyard to protect it. And they only had one. The druids had taken one, and they still had two.
So the druids have one, the magicals have one. No, the magicals have two.
Yes, there are three in total.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps if we retrieve the source of their growth power, that gemstone, they must be using it to create these creatures, he says.
And with the Festival of the Sun only tomorrow, it seems this is the only thing we have time to do.
Yes. I think the Burgomaster would be very upset if we would not be here for the festival, right? So...
But he would also be upset if the festival were interrupted by tree creatures.
Oh, yes, I do believe so. So, we ride out and save, gets that gem.
Before we leave, I must attend to some business. It seems with the reward the Vistani gave us for rescuing their girl, I can finally afford some new armor, he says, looking down to his battered ring mag. I would advise, if anybody needs to resupply or rearm, now would be the time.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
You might want to put some colour into it this time. Stand out a bit more. Might be that the likes of Elizabeth and monitors might, pay a bit more attention if you didn't look so miserable before the blacks and the browns, like.
I will take it under consideration, he says with a stern expression.
Just trying to help you break that.
And he's just going to look to Ella. She's looked like she was going to say something.
I'm waiting for the magic word.
He looks and gives her a confused look.
The magic word is shopping spree! I say what would mark it.
Those are 2 words.
I don't care!
Actually, I would like to visit a certain shop too, to get something for the girls before we depart again. I do not want my wife to think I am thoroughly abandoning her.
Oh, that reminds me. And Finney goes into the pack and rummages about a little bit, and finally comes out with a carved wooden wolf, roughly about the same size as the toy dog that you gave up to the Vistani. I found this a while back. Thought it might be a nice replacement for your lad's little dog that you gave away. And he offers it up to you.
Waldemar looks at first very confused because he's not quite used to getting something. And then he gingerly takes the wolf, inspects it, and very heartily hugs Finney, although he has to reach down quite low.
Finney, for his part, looks quite taken aback at the show of affection from Voldemort. Like, he's frozen initially, and then very slow sort of pat on the back. Oh, it's only one flame, it's just a couple of coppers, don't worry about it.
And then Waldemar straightens out and says, "Never talk of this again," and puts away the toy wolf.
Right. Well, that's officially the strangest thing that's happened to me today.
Don't know what you're talking about.
He references that he's showing Waldemar that he's pretending he will never speak of it again.
I like how he has been, Finny has been to the murder room of dolls from the Baron's henchman, and then a hug from Waldemar just sets him at ease.
This is way higher on the scale.
We move then. Come, we do not have much time. We meet at the Sunset Gates as soon as possible.
As you are.
Are we not
Finny
going
for
to
his
shop
part.
together?
He's going to set off down the direction of the shops, so anybody who's following.
I'm going to
Follow us.
supervise him because he has no sense of color whatsoever, I say, and stomp off after him. So I need to watch out for him.
I, on the other hand, am quite prepared. I think I will rest by the gate until you are all ready.
And Gideon will nod, and he's going to, by himself, head towards the, is it the Sunset Gate?
Yeah.
Did you say? Towards the Sunset Gate, and he's going to find a spot to sit and kind of meditate. He can't meditate like an elf, but he'll just try to think on what has happened so far, and...
Finny looks to Waldemar.
Yes.
Well, are you joining him, or are you going to sit by the gate as well?
I have a place to be right now. Do you want to come along? Gerhard might appreciate it.
It kind of depends on what it is you're planning to do.
And Waldemar gives the most secretive and mischievous grin to Finny and starts walking in direction of the closest perfume shop.
Finny watches for a long moment and seems a little bit torn. But eventually he looks towards Abitha, nods his hat to her. I suppose we'll be seeing you back at the inn sometime in the festival.
Or if not sooner. She gives you a wink before heading back in towards the inn.
Finny for his
Good
part.
night, then.
I hope so. It's kind of, you know, this place is miserable as it is. It's nice to have the odd ray of, black and white sunshine to appear every now and again. This is in reference to her attire. And
White sunshine.
The only kind in Barovia.
yep,
Finny has a way with words, and Elizabeth has never seen.
6 charisma. And although he looks torn with Waldemar, he actually heads off in the same direction as Gwydion, intending to catch up with him.
Okay.
You will not find that hard. He is hobbling slowly in his age.
He pops up alongside you, and for a moment or two, he doesn't say anything. Just taking in the companionship, I suppose, more than anything.
Gideon, if he's noticed you, hasn't said anything yet. He's stroking his beard, which is absentmindedly changing colors. Blue to green to white again. As he strokes his beard.
That catches Finny's attention, and he just sits and watches for a moment or two. Can you only do that with your beard?
Sorry, my boy. What do you mean?
Nice. I wasn't trying to sneak up on you like it. I'm a Lightfoot, it happens.
Oh, no mind. No, I can color any surface. I didn't realize what I was doing. I was thinking.
Is it permanent when you do it, or?
More or less, you have to refresh it now and again, but
We'll come back to that sometime. You've intrigued me. But,
that reminds me.
Aye?
I've offered to teach 2 people magic, and that would be the Burgomaster's son, and of course, Ella. You are more than welcome to participate. The
Magic?
invitation is open, of course.
Magic for old Finny Maguire.
It might be possible to learn a cantrip or two.
I can't say as I've ever... I mean, the thing with the beard, is that simple?
It depends on how relative you mean by simple. I guess you would say simple is relative, my boy. Depends on your mind and your manner of thinking.
For a lad who's never even considered the idea of casting a spell, I mean, do you reckon it'd be doable?
Years of study at times, others pick it up more quickly.
Well, I wouldn't turn you down, but there might be a different kind of favour I might be having to ask you a little bit sooner. And some of the merriment drops out of his face as he says that, and he starts to look away, a little bit distracted almost.
Well,
but I don't want to be interrupting your train of thought.
Oh, no. I do that enough on my own, don't worry.
Well, I need to tell you something, Father, and I need it to stay between us for the time being. I think the Gerhardt might be worth knowing about it as well, but for now, just the two of us, if you don't mind.
He furrows his brows and he says, "Of course."
And you can see Finney's looking away, very distracted. He's looking at the general area, trying to see if they're somewhat private at the moment or if there's many eyes on them.
Now you're all clear.
And he strokes at his sideburns a little bit, and then, look, there's no easy way to say it. I'll be best off just showing you. And he starts to unravel his shirt cuffs, or the cuffs of his jacket, and slowly, without even looking himself, pulls it back and reveals the two puncture marks from fangs embedded into his wrist.
Oh.
And he gives you a long opportunity to look, and then starts fastening the sleeve again.
As you begin to fasten it up, he makes a motion to quickly grab your wrist, but not in like a violent way, more in like a way of he wants to bring it closer and inspect it. So if you try to draw away, you probably could.
He flinches immediately, and then he takes his hand away and lets you take a look. Again, he seems to be avoiding eye contact with it himself. But his gaze does flicker up to you. And in a moment of eye contact, he simply remarks, "Strahd."
So Gideon inspects it as closely as possible. If I were to do an investigation roll on the wound or a medicine roll, would I be able to tell if he's infected, do I think, or is that impossible to tell?
Do a medicine check for me.
Okay. Pull up my stats here. I got a 9 total.
So, you are not a healer, Gideon the guide. Unfortunately, your knowledge in such things is just very limited.
I must admit, I can't tell the severity, but there are certain connotations, being bitten by a vampire. I am no healer, but my advice would be to seek one. We don't know what might happen, and it is your safety I am concerned about, and also the others, you must understand.
That's kind of my point. I'm doing what I can. I mean, you might have heard of the sort of myths and stories that we grew up with vampires and the likes back in our world, but I didn't pay enough attention to know how true any of it might be. Now I'm here, I'm trying to find out what I can about him, and hopefully a few answers, but this has put the pressure on a little bit, and the last thing I want is, well, it's to become a danger to you all. So, I'm going to tell you and I'm going to tell Goldhart, and I need you to do me a favour. In addition to keeping quiet about it for the time being, if I start to, show signs, start to do things that might hurt people, well, I really need you to stop me one way or another.
You notice that his hands are shaking a little bit as you're asking him this, and his face drains, and he takes a deep breath, and his eyes start to well up with tears a little bit, and his voice shakes as he says,
I couldn't possibly do that. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that.
Then he takes your hand, reaches up, and just tries to comfort you as best he can. Look, I know it's a lot to take in. I'm sorry. It's a lot to put on you.
And he interrupts with a shout.
I won't do it!
And he brings his arm away from you. And then he kind of realizes who he's talking to, and he wipes sweat from his brow, and he blinks and he wipes the tears, and he says,
I'm sorry, perhaps you would be right. I wouldn't have the heart to bring harm to you in any state, my friend.
And he is heaving in his breath a bit, and he has to sit and just close his eyes and almost meditate. His eyes are clamped tight, like something is... It's almost like how you'd see somebody have a panic attack. Just the thought of intentionally bringing harm to a party kind of sent him over the brink a bit.
And Finney looks even more troubled than he already did, and very guilty, and sits down on the bench next to you and just puts a comforting hand as far up your back as he can get it, and just sits in silence with you for a long time until you compose.
And after several minutes, he probably 5 or 10 minutes, he heaves a deep breath and he says,
I have lost many a person in my life. Many a time it was my fault. And I vowed after the last time that I would not be responsible for the deaths of any more friends. When Strahd came to me in that dream that we had that night, I looked back and I saw many of their faces, shadows, and it reminded me of the guilt I've been harboring inside. And I could not do what you ask, but I will do anything else in my power to help you. Know that.
And then he sighs again, and he stands up and he stretches his legs.
I think I am feeling a bit better now. Sorry for that.
Finney, for his part, looks, as you begin to describe the dream, looks horrified. There's a realization of exactly what he's asked, and the trauma that he's brought back sort of sinks in. And he stands and looks at you in silence for a moment and says, you know what, it's my fault, mate. I shouldn't have asked you. I didn't know. I'm sorry. If I'd have known, I would never have said a word.
But I am glad you came to me with this secret. We must find a way to help you. In the end, I will suffer a little, but hopefully we will all suffer less for it.
He nods, a little more determined looking.
I hope it's possible, but you must understand my main concern is that I don't want any harm coming to the likes of you and Ella and everyone. But I can't risk him knowing about it, not yet. And if Voldemort finds out, well, I'll probably be dead before I hit the streets.
You may also want to avoid Van Richten,
he says with a slight crook into his corner of his mouth.
Aye, you're probably right there as well. Look, maybe they're right. Maybe it would be the quickest and easiest and best thing for us all, but I don't know. I don't want... I'm not the type for giving up that easily.
No,
Not yet.
don't give up.
But if anything goes wrong... Well, you can't be asking Voldemort, but I think maybe Gerhard might be the man. And while I appreciate what's happened to yourself and not wanting to harm, you're a wizard. I mean, I don't know anything of magic, but if there's anything you might be able to do just to stop me, even if it doesn't hurt, but just slow me down, give the others a chance, I don't know.
He sighs again and
be able to do.
he kind of nods heavily as you say this. And
I will do what I am able to slow you down. That is the best I can promise.
It's more than I could have expected of you, and I'm grateful.
No matter. We must concentrate on a way to help you first, before thinking of this dark business.
Well, hopefully we find the right types of places. There might be some answers. Back at home, I studied with the guilds. We all had our basic apprenticeships with the Hunters Guild as general before we started to go into our specialist area, shall we say. For me, that was the Ratcatchers, but there were at least some basics that I've not forgotten. Things like knowing your enemy, how he behaves, where to find him, what to expect. We didn't exactly go into any detail on vampires, but there's got to be information around here somewhere. Maybe Richtofen, maybe the Baron, maybe more, I don't know. But if there's anything out there, I have every intention of finding it. If not for myself, then at least so that we know what we're doing with Strahd and his minions.
he nods and he agrees with you that finding information would be our best course of action. Although he does ask to see your arm one more time.
I do have an idea that may temporarily relieve the symptoms, at least.
I'll take whatever I can get, mate. And he undoes the shirt cuffs, jacket cuffs again.
So Gideon reaches into his pouch and he pulls out a small bit of powdered silver and iron. It's just a small mixture, and he sprinkles it in a circle around the wound and mutters some words as he makes several points around this silver lining. And he casts protection from evil and good on Vinny. Just a flavor thing, probably, because usually it's to protect against Fae and undead and that sort of thing when they attack, but I just think it would be an appropriate spell in this moment to try to help.
Okay.
Finny watches as this sort of settles in, and it's the first time since he's shown he's actually put his eyes on it and looked at it directly, and he watches the spell fade off. Well, I can't say it's a fair indifferent, mate, but whatever it is you're doing, I thank you.
And he nods and he puts the pouch away and then begins stroking his beard in deep thought, like once again. This time his beard stays white, as he's careful not to prestidigitate it.
Excellent. You both can have inspiration for that.
Oh, thank you.
Powerful
Splendid.
piece of roleplay.
I've still got inspiration.
Okay, well, you can't have any more. That's it.
No. I need to use the damn thing.
Or you can choose to give it to one of your fellow players and have another one.
Yeah, sure. Anybody who hasn't got it. I don't know who has and who hasn't. I think...
I have a very specific moment that I'm saving mine for, at least in my mind. I will know when to use it. And
Yeah,
I have
I
ideas.
don't think-
Hand it out for you, Waldemar, go ahead.
I don't think I have. I think Ella must have one for the music, for the songs at some point, didn't she? Yeah. So,
I'm going to say Waldemar
Yeah,
for surprising me with a hug.
Okay.
yeah, there you go.
Voldemar, you can have inspiration. Generously given by Finny.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Hand
so
me down.
So we leave that very tense scene and we skip over across town, not very far, of course, to Ella and Gerhardt, who are heading over to the blacksmith.
I mean, he was starting, right? He was just walking off. And Ella decides, as he's running off, she says to the others what she said with, he can't be trusted with color. And she's going after him, and she's so much smaller. She's only like 3 feet or so. And not even. She's 2 foot 8 inches. So
2.8 inches, are you sure about that? Inches. It's about this big.
2 feet and 8 inches, right?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
It's just the way you said it earlier.
Okay, sorry. So she's not even 3 foot tall, and she's after him, and then she's like, I could make this a game. And she's starting to sneak after him, so she can, at some opportune point, jump out and say, "Ta-da!" or "boo" or something. In her mind,
We
it's
do
very
a
funny.
perception check.
Yes, I'm going to roll stealth.
Gerhardt, are you actively looking out for someone who will jump out at you and go boo?
He's always looking out for something. He's Barovian.
Really?
And I'm going to give myself guidance because the
Without
goddess is in favor of this. I am pretty sure.
I will give you call on that, DM, because there's arguments 2 and 4.
I mean, you're in your hometown. It's fairly
21
safe.
on stealth.
A hometown that's just surprised him in every single way imaginable and turned his whole perception of reality upside down. But maybe he's musing on that.
Okay. I will say, because it's a 21, that's very high, I will let you roll perception.
I'm going to need a nat 20.
But only if you sit centre frame in the camera, because you're on the edge. Thank you. Now you may.
No, 12.
Okay.
So Ella is putting up the hood to hide her bright red hair. He's like sneaking after Gerhardt.
Ella, you are one with the shadows, and they are many in Barovia.
They are. That is the actual good thing about this place. It's easy to hide.
Gerhard looks over his shoulder briefly and furrows his brow, expecting others to have followed him, but shrugs and moves on.
She's still after him.
It's the laugh! Oh my god! Alright. So, Gerhard, you are heading to the
The local smith.
The local smith, thank you. Who you know as Gargosh. Gargosh Zundra.
Excellent. So he's going to make his way inside once he gets there.
And you see Gargosh, and he is a big hulking bear of a man, working over and beating some metal. And his shop is quite humble. You obviously see lots and lots of replicas of city guard equipment, as this is the only smith in town, and he provides the city guard with their wares.
Immediately on seeing him, say, Gargosh, good day to you.
Gerhardt. No, that's going to kill me. I'm not going to do that. I felt that. No.
That's his greeting.
A glass of water, you'll be fine.
So Guard takes a moment just to look over the shop and he says, I require armor, not standard issue.
And he turns to you. He stops hammering. And he raises an eyebrow. And eventually, after a long silence, says, Why?
Why does it concern you?
I've heard about you resigning. And I own the seal to make the city guards gear. Now, they can't go anywhere else and get their armor and their weapons, but they can import it. If you're thinking of causing trouble, Goldhart, I can't be a part of that.
I seek new armor precisely because I wish to stop trouble. You know all too well that the city guard cares not for anything outside these walls. I've decided enough is enough. If those reasons do not persuade you, and he takes out, and there's over 300 gold pieces in his gold purse. He just strides up and drops it on the counter. What guardsman and what contract with Vallaki has ever yielded this much profit?
And he opens the purse, takes out a coin, feels it in his fingers, and puts it down. Come with me. And he goes further inside his shop behind a ragged leather curtain.
Can I sneak after them?
Of course you can.
I'm going to then. Try not to giggle.
So,
Snooping around.
further into his workshop, there's a large counter. And he reaches behind it and he pulls out 3 different kinds of beautiful, well-made armor sets.
What are the differences between the 3?
One is plate, one is scale, and one is splint.
Straight away he picks up the plate armor, the helm, and the pauldrons, and he looks on it with almost reverence. He's never seen anything of this quality before. And he just says, "For whom have you been squirreling this away for?"
Sometimes in my dreams, I see men on glittering steeds wearing glittering armor. In a land of sunshine and hope.
I would like to use that moment to look over the tabletop and say, "That sounds like a beautiful dream."
Ah!
Taboo, by the way!
Gerhardt's eyes widen a fraction, ever so slightly for a moment, which is the only sign of his surprise, and then he just looks down.
I poked the plate mail because it's the shiniest one of them, right? Most likely.
And it has a matching helmet.
Ooh!
Gerhard looks back to the smith, and he just looks down a fraction, and he says, "A symbol of hope and light. This does not seem to fit me at all well."
I would like to say, I'm sticking in that big helmet and I open the visor with both arms and say, "What are you talking about? That's nonsense. Of course you can be a symbol of light if you want. If you want to be, you can."
Goldhart, on the plate, its chest piece is tapered a valley. A valley that could possibly be Vallaki, but on its horizon is a sun with great sunbeams etching out all around.
He takes a deep breath as he picks up this plate, and he says, I am not accustomed to items of such beauty. I fear even the gold in my purse, much as it is, would not be enough for craftsmanship like this.
Well, I do more than just make horseshoes.
How much?
For the plate? I mean, he strokes his Kievan epic beard.
Ooh,
Yeah, yeah, magnificent. And for anyone watching, Kievan is the other DM on Goldhart Gaming. Magnificent beard. Beard envy. I can't even grow a beard. Wish I could. Anyway. Not the point. If you are going out and doing what you say you're going to do, you can have this for 500 gold pieces.
Hey,
Yeah, I'm going to
mister!
take a moment to look at his pack to see what else he can flip.
500 gold? Are you crazy? I just heard what you said. You can normally only do the stuff for the gods, right? And it has to be a certain way and kind of shape and everything. So who is going to buy this thing? I mean, it's pretty and all, but you need to look at your market and who wants the stuff, right? So look at him. He's going to do good things with it. And if he ever gets out of here in this land of sunshine, maybe he can tell everyone what a wonderful artisan you are.
Roll me a persuasion check.
Okay. I'm actually not bad at persuasion. Yes, I am. That is a 24. I rolled a 17.
Ella, despite your persuasion, he looks at you. And he says, Strahd would pay.
This is so not his color. Listen, there's a sun on this stupid thing. On this beautiful craftsmanship stuff.
Ella, Garth's just going to hold up a hand, just to steady her. And he looks back to Garthor. He says, I have 300 gold pieces in my pouch, most of which I obtained over the last few days. Would you accept a deposit of 300 now? And by my word, I will ensure another 300 reaches your fingers before the moon's end.
Roll me a persuasion check.
Four.
I just remember something. I'm going to have this aha moment of light bulb going on over my head. And I get down the helmet and I start digging into my backpack. And there are green feathers and raven feathers and beautiful shaped, I don't know, stones or whatever I just picked up on my travels. And then I get out 3 pieces of jewelry. And I hold them up with this ha-ha! We got jewelry in the vineyard that is worth 250 gold. Huh?
He takes the jewelry from you and he thumbs it. Not even the burgomaster's wife has something this fine. Fine, I'll take your 300 gold and this jewelry.
Wait a second. 250 gold and the jewelry. And you're going to really make it shiny and polish it before he wears it. And the new garments on for beneath it. We don't want him to be all raw, wrapped and itchy and complaining. Do you know what it's like if you trudge through the landscape with a fighter who's all sore and has blisters on you don't unmentionables? Then that's not fun. So, okay? How does that
I will
sound?
give you the 50 gold as soon as I am able. The account says with a smile.
You may have your plate armor, which, may I just point out, costs 1,000 gold. Trying to haggle for
Yes.
more discount. I
know, right?
made that a very hard roll, but you nearly hit it. It was 25.
Ooh,
I know.
excellent.
I see.
Okay. So Gerhardt's assumedly with Ella's help, it's going to get suited and booted, and he'll actually give Gartosh the ringmail armor. He doesn't need it anymore. Even though, for scrap.
Yeah, he tosses it over into his scrap pile.
Mm,
That's seen better days.
You have
excuse
no
me.
idea.
Can you lift me up? I asked the smith. So I can see the breastplate better. And I'm going to do the thing. And make the sun real shiny. This looks perfect. You look like a hero. Like someone from a story. Like someone from a story even better than all the stories that Gideon told me so far. You look like the kind of hero who rides out, saves, I don't know, a princess and comes back home with lots of treasure.
Gerhardt just looks serious as always. And he says, "This is no story."
But it could be one day. Just you wait. Don't you know? We have already done something nice and good, right? So people are already starting to talk about us. I'm pretty sure that we're going to be famous one day, and we're going to save Barovia.
It was only a few days ago that I thought I was doing good, and I was saving the day. My eyes are wide open now, and nothing is quite so simple. But this is a fine suit of armor, nonetheless.
You know, the thing about stories is just that sometimes it depends on what kind of spin you put on them when you tell them, right? I mean, you can get a cat out of a tree and make a big affair out of it.
I do so hope to visit your lands one day.
I'm going to show you around.
To see the world that birthed such blissful optimism.
I mean, I'm a halfling. I'm a hin, as you very well know by now. And we are special that way. I think we kind of have to be. Look at us. Puny, small. And I give you this plop with my finger on your nose if the smith is still holding me up. And you have to be optimistic in order to withstand all the big people's foolishness that they sometimes, look at all the wars and the stuff that's going on here. Oh, okay, not here. There are no wars here.
I will keep that in mind. Is there anything you wish to buy before we leave?
Could you maybe sharpen all my weapons? I look at them and maybe you have something better? Although I think I've given you everything I have of value beside the pearls, and I'm not willing to part with them. I'm very sorry, but they were a gift, you see. I can't just I'm going to keep them. So, but I have, and I start fumbling through my bed. I have fun and party starter, and I started to put weapons after weapons on the table. Like, there's another knife on my boot, and look at them. I have been cutting little tree creatures with them. They are slightly nicked now. I think I need a new sharpening stone or something.
I can sharpen all your weapons for 10 silver, and for a new stone, that would be 5 coppers.
Okay, you got it. And I dig through my... I get out my purse and start counting out the silver in the copper. And I'm watching him do it.
Excellent.
Is this how you do it here in Barovia? Have
So-
you do that very often?
So
How
he goes- he seems to answer you in grunts as he sits at his I don't even know what the proper name of that is, but it's like he's got like a little foot pedal and it's a big stone and it spins and he shuffles and wets it and
Grindstone?
Thank you.
I think it is.
Do you think I play enough Skyrim to know what that is?
Yeah, like a grindstone or a whetstone. I think the whetstone is the one she'd be buying for herself.
Yeah. And with that, we're actually going to take a break. Break time! Time to go get drinks.
Dust your bones.
Puns. We're punny here. Right, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We're just going to go get a drinky and go to the loo. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Don't go anywhere.
Bye.
We are back. And as you can see, I've put my teeth in. I now sound like a retard. I think this was a bad idea.
It's fine.
Oh dear.
No, that was 5 seconds.
How does Strahd do it? Is he giving a course to us? I don't know, like pronunciation teaching once a week on Castle Ravenloft, how to speak without lisping.
Honestly, it's impossible.
He does it because he has a 12-inch tongue, which is also why he's so popular with the ladies.
And the boys.
Here.
Okay, we are back.
Goldhart Gaming, losing subs starting.
You're only taking out her teeth.
Oh dear.
Yeah, no, sorry, I'm not doing that. I'll keep the red light on though, because I'm quite liking the purple hair.
I'm surprised it wasn't me.
If it were you, Jason, the Twitch would be like, no, just ban them.
So just before the break, we had some good RP from our players. Finny is worried that the bite he got from Strahd is infected and that he might turn. And he turned to Gideon to ask him for a favour, that if he ever starts to pose a threat, that Gideon would put an end to him. Obviously, given Gideon's history, he wasn't quite happy with that. And then Gerhardt and Ella went off and bought some new things. Well, just Gerhardt. He got some plate armor for a very good price. And that was it. That's all we've done.
Yeah, so I assume we're all just now meeting up back at the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Gerhardt's going to roll up in his nice, shiny new armor, and he looks a bit uncomfortable in it, to be honest.
Finny sat at the bench with Gideon and looks a bit morose until he notices you guys coming up, and all of a sudden his face brightens up and he lets loose a wolf whistle as you start stalking up Gerhardt. Well, it's not pretty, it's not colourful, but it does you a damn sight more favours than the last one.
Shinier too.
Same coming a mile away.
Yes, that is what I am afraid of.
Look at him. You want to
That's
see?
what you want to be seen.
Voldemar strolls up, whistling a merry tune, and tosses a small pot to Gerhard. That should help you with the color.
What is it? He opens the pot. What does he see?
It's a pot of very thick, bright red rouge. Passing by, Voldemar's gonna friendly pat you on the back, and it's gonna sound like he's just hitting a can, just like ting ting, as he says, "Look alive, brother," and he strolls by.
Let's go to look at this rouge. Now he just he puts it in his pouch. He says, "Suppose if I needed to blind a vampire while I'm cutting him open."
I have an idea. Just something occurred to me. Gideon, if you make his hair all shiny, and if you put the rouge on, and he's wearing his shiny armor, maybe some dark, brooding knight is going to save him! And us too, because we're hanging around with him, right?
Well, he does look like a pretty lady.
Well,
They're
if you don't want the rouge.
He sort of grunts and says, "We're wasting time. Come, we move."
I think we have unlocked a new quest, which is put Gerhard in drag.
I'll update the quest tracker.
Please do.
The ultimate
His
quest.
AC is now 21.
Forget Strahd.
I mean, maybe we can give the druids a makeover. They certainly need it. Have you seen what they were wearing?
Maybe we can get the druids accept him into their coven.
I think
Well, we
it's
will
quite
have to think of a
certain.
plan. Shall we?
Yeah, Gerhardt's already on his way, leaving this conversation far behind.
Follow behind.
It's
And
such
we
a
keep
shame.
talking.
We have to tickle his funny bone yet.
Okay, so we're heading to where the druids were sighted, I believe.
Where
Yes,
wild
indeed.
druids grow.
Oh, maps are out.
Ooh.
Okay, so sorry, I can still taste the paste. You guys are here,
Okay.
and you are going.
Suspense is killing me.
Drum roll, please.
Thank you.
Here.
Oh. Okay.
Oh.
Oh,
How
look
long
at
will
me.
No, sorry,
No.
sorry, I'm not. No, that's a V. Where's the Y? It's that way. We already worked that out.
We go.
We get the idea.
English?
Okay.
We were here and we're going here.
So, you set off out the gates. It's coming up to midday.
Okay.
It will take you about 2 hours by the main road. And to get to the hill, you need to deviate off the path through the woods. And eventually, the trail through the deep woods leads to a hill covered with dead grass and cairns of black rock. Dark, ominous clouds gather high above, and a single bolt of lightning strikes the hilltop. West of the hill, the land, the woods, and the sky vanish behind a towering wall of fog.
It might just be me, but I'm starting to get a little nervous every time I see that, he says, and gestures out towards the fog.
Yes. And the lightning struck the hill, but it did not ignite anything, or did it? Or can we not see that from here?
You cannot see that from here.
Okay.
You're gonna go up. Are you gonna go atop the hill?
Would you like to circle around first, maybe? And find, I don't know, tracks of druids? The last time, they basically jumped out of the woodwork, right? We walked through those grapes and there are those blights, right?
I have a feeling it might be best we stick together for this one.
Yes.
I agree.
So this is quite a tall hill. You can't see the top of it.
Okay.
Gerhardt's going to lead the way. Oh. So actually he'll be entering the fog first.
You're going into the fog, away from the hill.
Oh, okay. Sorry, no. I thought he was on top of the hill. No, he's
No.
going to go up the hill. He's leading the way up the hill.
Okay. So you go up the hill. It's quite steep. You can get quite breathy from going up it. And atop the hill, a wide ring of black boulders and smaller rocks that collectively form the makeshift wall. Enclosed in a field of dead grass, lightning strikes the edge of the ring from time to time, illuminating a ghastly 50-foot-tall statue made of tightly woven twigs, packed with black earth. The statue resembles a towering cloaked man with fangs.
Wait, like Strahd?
It has a very eerie resemblance to Strahd.
Do you reckon there's anything to do with the festival? Seems a bit odd to just be out here like this, just alone.
Oh, you mean because they had the Wicker Sun and they have a Wicker Strahd?
I can only imagine. I mean, who else would be out here building that kind of thing?
I would actually like to do a religion check and investigate this statue if I could. If these are druids on a hill, I think that would cross my mind to see if I can remember anything that might help us.
Mhm.
I would like to make
Yeah.
an Arcana check to see which kind of magic I'm detecting off of this.
I got a 15 for investigation.
I got 23 on Arcana.
Okay, so Gideon, your investigation. So this is what you know as the Druid Circle, which is what they use to practice their natural magics. And the roots sprouting from the ground around the base, these roots wrap around the statue. And it would prevent it from being toppled. But it also allows this effigy to serve as a component to some spell. A spell you're not sure yet.
Okay.
Just beyond the Druid Circle, though, you can see a woodland. And this woodland is practically a sickly copse. A grove of dead trees, shrubs, and a huge misshapen tree in the middle. And your Arcana check, Voldemar. You get a sense that this effigy is powering something further in the grove.
Okay.
Gideon will comment.
There seems to be some magic at work here in this druid circle. This is where they perform their spells.
It's not just a spell. And Voldemar traces in the air from the wicker statue towards the grove. They are feeding something.
What do you mean feeding?
Yes, can you explain?
Magic is said to sustain something deep into those woods.
Look there, how they protect the base of the statue with these vines. It is as if they are preventing it from being pushed over or moved.
DM, I rolled a quick 9 perception just to see if there's any immediate threats in the area.
With a 9, everything seems fine.
Yep.
The question is, why? Why an effigy of Strahd? Why
Could
would
it be?
druids worship him?
Could the gemstone be inside the statue, do you think? Is that what they're feeding to this forest?
Wait a second. When we got that stuff, we learned that it was a sapling that sprouted from a stake that had killed a vampire, right? And that stake was corrupted by the vampire's, I don't know, evilness, blood, whatever. And those druids seem to worship that. I mean, those are not normal druids, right? Normal druids, they are like, I don't know, they have really good read and stuff. And they're like normally harmless, even if they're a bit smelly, right? But those druids are totally different. And they worship, obviously, something undead, which is the most unnatural thing around. So they must be really crazy druids, right?
They must be corrupted of some kind of evil.
Yes. I agree. So why would they... Do you think that maybe this land we're basically trapped here? Maybe if because they're trapped here as well, and he's the ruler, that corrupted them as well, or something? I don't know.
Sometimes people are just evil, Ella.
Does anyone here have a passive perception score of 16 or higher?
Let me check. Mine's high.
15.
I think Nate's putting it together what this is, but I don't know if he didn't.
1 second. I think mine is 13.
Yeah,
Mine
mine's
is
only
16.
12.
Okay, Ella.
Hmm.
You notice, because you're just kind of on the outskirts of the circle.
Mhm.
But further in, you notice a dozen covered graves scattered throughout the field. And around the circle.
Graves. Okay.
Mhm.
I would tuck on. I tuck on. Gerhard is the one with the shining armor. I tuck on his coat. Like, Gerhard, do you see there are graves all around here?
Gerhard looks over them. He says, "There is far more to this scene than meets the eye.
Yeah.
Were it up to me, I would simply tear this abomination down," he says, looking towards the Wicker Man, the Wicker Strahd. And he takes a bit of a grip on the pommel of his sword. Says, "I don't know. Would it simply unleash something monstrous were we to do so?"
I have a
Do you think-
question.
Oh, go ahead.
I would like to know, we are in the circle of druids, right? And we're standing in front of the weird Wicker Strahd. Where are the druids?
I have a feeling if we lay a hand on that statue, they'll come running.
Yeah, goosebumps kind of prickle across Gideon's back as you say that, and he looks around, and he's also been thinking of that staff. Did we destroy that staff? I can't remember.
No.
I think Waldemar
I guess
took
they
it.
got it.
Everyone roll me a perception check.
Okay. Woo! Woohoo! Natural 20! Woo! With
I got
my
a 9.
dark, glittering dice.
Yeah, I got a 10.
I can't see that. I can't see that.
I know,
Just say
I
out.
know. Sorry, but,
I got a 4.
six.
Right.
Ella. The woods through you came. You see fire. Fire that's travelling towards you. But the forest, there's no smoke, just the colour of flames, and it's getting closer.
Like people carrying torches, or?
Could be.
I think I maybe found the rules. I point out towards the fire. There's something fiery coming.
The hell's that?
Torches?
Gerhard looks up again towards the effigy. Says, "To light the Wicker Man."
Ooh. It's
If we
high.
wanted to spring an ambush, we best be getting us cover now.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's smart.
That's all very well. Quick, let us move. But whatever happens, do not let them near that statue.
Finney's going to attempt to climb a nearby tree if there's anywhere suitable he thinks might be good for a sniper's position.
Well, the only tree you can see on this hill is the dark twisted one.
Okay, well, forget that then.
Are there standing stones or something?
No, there are boulders.
Oh, okay.
I'll take a boulder.
I mean, yeah.
As you begin to take your positions, through the woods comes a creature as black as soot, and a mane made of fire. And upon it sits a figure who you all know very well.
Do we?
I'm going on a limb and say, Strahd?
Indeed, it is Strahd, riding a horse that could have come from the pits of hell itself.
There's no way we can hide here. Should we retreat? Fall back?
We could parley.
Stay down.
Do not move.
And on his arrival, he seems to survey the land, and you feel a shift in the ground. And from beneath the boulders and graves, six barbarian-like corpses rise from their graves, their hair matted, their furs tattered, and in 12 druid-like corpses
So there's 18 total, is that right?
correct.
Okay. Finny will begin to back up from, I presume the boulder he's behind is sort of rising up with this thing.
Yeah.
And he'll immediately back up. His bow's going back and the hand's going to the sword, but he's making no immediate move.
I need everyone to roll me a stealth check if you're trying to hide.
Yeah.
Here's where the plate armor comes in handy.
I'm going to.
Very badly tonight. Flat 10.
I'm going to use the Dungeon Master inspiration because I rolled a natural 1.
Are you
You're halfling.
I'm halfling! Yes! That's much
So am I the
better!
only one who doesn't have inspiration?
It's 24 then.
Someone can gift you inspiration if they have it.
Nah, we're getting found out anyway, so.
Okay, well, it would have been a 20, but now it's 5.
They don't seem to notice you. They are seen to be completely transfixed on Strahd, who says nothing. He smiles and turns, and the druid-like corpses begin to chant. And in the centre of the statue, a green glow begins.
I tug on Gerhard's coat. When are we going to do something?
And what is it you suggest we do?
Stop them from whatever they are doing.
I have an idea.
Whatever it is, it's a good idea. Let's do it.
Okay, I have an idea, guys.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know if this is going to work. Now, can I see the glow between the sticks?
Yeah, you can.
Of
It's
this
very
effigy?
noticeable.
Okay. If I kind of peek out a tiny bit and look at that effigy, can I tell if I could slip Mage Hand through those twigs and grab the emerald out? It can only lift 10 pounds of pressure. And it can only move 30 feet. Okay.
Oh.
Well, maybe I've miscalculated.
And he's whispering very quietly.
I
Oh,
mean,
he's using message. How's that?
if you distract him, I can climb up there and grab that thing.
Gerhard looks to and he just says, "You're sure?"
Yeah, I can climb up there and grab that thing.
But then how will we escape?
We threaten to destroy it if they don't let us go.
I suppose we'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it. And Gerhard's
We still have an
Going to-
invitation to dinner. Do you think we can bring that up?
How far are we from the center of this thing?
You're about 15 foot away.
God damn it.
Gerhard is going to take a deep breath, and he's going to quickly just place a hand on Ella's shoulder and give it a quick squeeze, and he's going to stand up and stride into the view of Strahd.
I need everyone to roll me initiative.
Okay.
Oh no.
There we are.
Voldemort is face palming extra hard.
Like you came up with any useful suggestions.
I was thinking.
Well, that's a one.
it's a
That's
natural.
2 from me, sorry.
It's a natural one.
Oh no.
I don't
12.
want to fight at all.
That's because you're face palming. You're like, oh, I don't want to.
Yeah.
It's okay. Ella's got a plan.
I plan to climb up there and grab the thing and then run.
My plan was to
That's
shoot a
fine.
fucking fireball into the center of this thing, but we would get hit because we were not far enough.
Yeah. That might make it worse. It might be a giant, lumbering, burning man.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Fire does not make things better.
What are we talking about? Fire makes everything better.
I know, I don't know what I was talking about.
hearing Ella mention something about that old tree made with vampire's blood, and then seeing Strahd here, and then the forest, and then the twisted dead tree, and then I think Gideon would put together and ask,
Do you think they're trying to create one of those trees? The vampiric tree of that legend?
That could be what they are doing, because the magic that was on the effigy.
Guys, I'm going to have to stop you because we rolled for initiative.
oh, you're right, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Can I have everyone's initiative? I know you got a 1, Voldemort.
Mine's 16.
17.
12.
2 for Gerhardt.
I tried to put off the fight a little longer, guys, sorry.
Okay, top of the round, Finny, what are you going to do?
How close is the nearest zombie, in essence, or whatever it is to me?
Right in front of you.
Yeah, I figured. He's going to be holding back until it moves, basically, so as soon as...
Oh, I did roll for Strahd, 1 minute.
That's
No,
fine.
that's okay.
That's fine.
You're okay with that?
He can take a nap.
Yes.
He's just so amused by our antics at this point. He'll just
Oh.
step back and laugh.
So actually, Strahd goes first.
Okay,
Of course he does.
why not?
And seeing you all reveal yourselves as you're ready for battle, he seems highly bemused. And he simply turns his horse around and goes back the way he came.
Coward.
Disrespect.
Oh, did you say that?
No, character. Oh, character.
Finny!
It would be amusing if you pissed off Strahd and he did the Thanos finger snap just now.
Yeah.
So Finny again with his hand on this sword, sees Strahd go, and I imagine at this point the zombie's head just sort of snaps to look at him.
Mm-hmm.
And in that moment, Finny's going to rip the sword from his belt and try and stab this thing as best he can. 17.
Yes, you'll successfully find flesh.
11 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
Is there another one next to it? Within 5 feet?
Yeah.
Alright, and he's going to use Hallbreaker, so he rips into the gut of the one, pulls it out, and dives in to try and get the second to the side, and that's not going to work. That's a 10.
I'm afraid your second one does not hit.
And he sort of pulls back, bouncing on the balls of his feet, ready for the telly. And that'll be his turn.
Ella.
I am going to. Is the way clear? Have I a clear pathway to just rush over to that tree while the others are being the distraction? Distracting the undead? I mean, Are they even looking at us? If Strahd is just riding away.
Yeah, no, well, the druids seem busy with their chanting.
Okay.
But the berserkers seem very interested in you.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to. I think I'm going to use mirror image or invoke duplicity in order to further distract them.
Okay.
I think I'm going to invoke duplicity and have second Ella run first and do this rabbit-like run around the statue as if she's going somewhere else, like maybe running after Strahd or something. So that when they dive after her and try to hit her, I will instead run for the tree and climb up like a little monkey and try to grab the amulet.
Okay, so you're going for the statue.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, is that all for your turn?
I mean, if I can get there and climb up there, then I'm going to try to grab the amulet. If I'm close enough.
You can get there and you can get up there,
mm-hmm.
but you don't have time to grab the amulet.
Okay, so I'm basically like, so close! Yeah. And my duplicity, my second self is doing all kinds of cowarding and shooting them with 2 finger salute and stuff like that.
Gideon.
I would like to hold action in of the effigy. I would like to cast Prestidigitation to snuff out any of the torches that they might... Well, so if somebody goes to light the effigy, I want to snuff the torch out with Prestidigitation.
Okay. No one has torches, by the way.
Oh.
The fire was
from the...
Yeah.
I see. Then if the effigy is lit at all, I will try to snuff it out. If it's at least the size of a small campfire or smaller, I can do it, I think.
Okay, there's no fire on the statue at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Gerhardt.
Okay, assuming these berserker zombies are all arranged in a crowd of sorts.
They're in the circle, around the circle.
Okay. Gerhardt is going to make as big a target as possible as the wind may batter at his new armor. He's going to grind his teeth, and with a roar, he's going to move as close into the thick of the zombies as he can, and yet 20 feet away from everybody else. How many zombies do you reckon he'll hit?
Well, if you don't want to get Ella, you'll only get 4.
That's fine. So 4, and with a cry, he's going to thrust his sword into the ground and let loose a thunder wave.
Dang, son.
So 15 feet. I'm assuming it's the same. 4 creatures.
And I have to roll a dex check, yeah?
Constitution saving throw.
Okay. 20. 10. Another net 20.
Oh, God.
I've rolled 3.
You're not allowed to use those dice. They're rigged.
4. 10. That's it.
Okay, cool. Let's see. So first we'll say they still take damage, but half as much, and aren't pushed. But everyone else, 2d8 thunder damage, and push 10 feet away from myself.
What's the 2d8?
So, that will be 12 for the 2d8.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, and a full 8 for the 1d8.
Sorry, there's a lot of them.
Glad I was that effective.
Okay. Is that all for your turn?
Yes.
Okay. It's the druid's turn. They continue their chanting. Two. Right, the berserkers. Ella, you're on this statue.
Yes, I am. Like a little monkey.
They seem completely ignore your doppelganger, but they're completely transfixed on you, on the statue. And two of them beset you.
Okay.
I need you to make me a athletics check to try and stay on the statue as they try and grab you off.
Okay. Athletics, not acrobatics. Okay, you got it. That is a 15.
Okay, so one tugs at you and you cling on. However, the second roll is a 21.
Oh no. So it plucks me out like a little plum.
Yes, you are now grappled.
I kick around. Let me go, you big brute! You stink!
Voldemort,
Yes.
your turn.
As I emerge from my facepalm, I try to assess the situation and see if anyone is immediately in front of me. Or if everyone's just kind of like 10, 20 feet away.
Where were you when this battle begun?
I assume I was hiding closer with Gwydion.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we have a boulder over somewhere.
Yeah.
I would say you have a clear line of sight, yes?
Mm-hmm. But nobody right in front of me.
No.
Mm-hmm. And how much do I have in terms of distance from me to the biggest cluster of enemies?
15 feet.
15 feet. God damn it, they're... Okay, I'm gonna magic missile the druids that are trying to hold Ella. And I'm
the berserkers.
Oh, the berserkers. The berserkers that are holding Ella, and I hit 17.
Yep.
And where's the... D4 is always the least comfortable dice.
Yes, agreed.
So that's 2 plus 4. It's 6, and the one that's holding Ella right now gets 9 points of damage.
Okay. Ella, you have been released. But
Yoo-hoo!
this creature is still standing.
Okay.
And is that all for your turn, Voldemort?
Yes.
Good job, big buddy!
I am now body conscious.
It is the end of the round. The ground beneath you begins to shake. The roots that wrapped around the effigy of Strahd uncoil and disappear into the ground, and you hear a mighty roar come from the dead tree grove behind you. The great twisted tree that you saw earlier seems to rise up on newfound legs. And with that, we will end the session.
No!
No! Oh,
Wait,
oh
what?
my god.
What?
Oh my god.
The Galtheus tree is awoken.
You know, I don't use the phrase cocktease very often.
Like hell you don't.
Let's go with nice.
Oh my god.
Can we enchant our own tree and have like a kaiju battle?
Let's
smash through some buildings.
But ours is the smallest kaiju because it's modeled after Ella's positivity, so it's 2 foot 8 inches. 2 feet 8 inches.
Good grief.
Oh man.
Oh my god.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah, I stopped it here because the next battle won't wrap up in the next 30 minutes, and I just thought that was a good point to end
I
it.
can imagine.
You only had 1 round to stop the ritual.
Yeah, well, we'll take him.
I bet if I ran with a halfling, I would have been there. I would have had time, most likely, right? To go there and grab the thing, because little tiny feet.
I really
and it's 50 foot tall and it's in his chest. So I even gave you extra movement, but
yeah.
I really wanted to blast it all with a fireball while everyone was in a circle, but goddammit, we would have gotten hit, and I know that for some reason they would have all rolled their constitution and dexterity, and we'll just die.
That's the beauty of fireball.
But if you destroyed the statue, you would have stopped the ritual.
That was my instincts.
It's said in my. I was thinking that we should do 2 of the things: either destroy the statue or just go and chop down the fucking tree.
Please. That's 5.
Okay, next time
okay.
Waldemar's intuition is gonna work better.
Yes.
Don't worry, we'll do it the hard way.
Yeah.
Next time we start the mail with full scale destruction instead of we sneak up there and see stuff.
And and that would be the one time you need to sneak around.
Yeah. The one time we needed to rush in.
Yeah.
Just kick the door in.
Right, everybody, thank you for watching.
Yes, thank you.
Stick with us, because on Wednesday, DM Tahina is running a very special Halloween one-shot for us. And, if she's doing this today, imagine what she's going to do on the day.
No pressure.
Hey, you raised the bar. And then, of course, on Saturday, join us for Waterdeep. We're having a cosplay special. So, there's a Minotaur and a Drow. It's going to be spectacular. And half elves and Jason's wearing his coat, so
Jason's gonna be in a coat.
Jason's wearing something
as opposed to right now when he's just butt naked on camera.
Hey, you don't know what goes on. You don't know what goes on. Yes, you don't know what happens under the sink. Anyway, it's been an excellent night.
About a public demand.
It's been an excellent night. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next Monday because we play every week. So tune in then. Unless anyone has anything they want to plug.
Yes, I would like to plug something.
What?
And besides DMing on Wednesday and playing on Saturday, I'm also going to play tomorrow over at Scraticus' channel, Scraticus Academy. We're playing Wizards and Wardrobes season number 2, and I'm playing Forja Flamemane, my fire genasi druid. We're in the Feywild, and it's just crazy fairy bullshit with wild magic.
Expect no less from you.
And I'm also the archmage, the archdruid for Derek Archmage. Maybe you might know him for the Mage College, and we're going to release the Dampir Race for Halloween, as well as Character Folio Anya, the Art Edition, and Golden Eyes Guide to Warlocks. So there's lots of stuff, content for D&D 5th edition coming out and stuff. So check that out as well, please.
I would also like to tease, as after November 6th, my schedule is going to clear up a lot, that maybe Leoni, if she would be so graceful as to present us with her artistic abilities, there may be a Curse of Strahd and Goldhart Gaming regular art stream if we work out all the details. So,
yes, let's do it.
Ooh. Yes.
I need another camera. so you can see my face while I'm drawing, because it's like this. And obviously see what I'm painting.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
All right, guys, we're going to wish you good night and come see us on Wednesday. Until then, keep telling your stories.
See you later.
Stay spooky.